Hello, everybody. Tony Bennett here today. I've come to say, I walk along the street of sorrows, the boulevard of broken dreams. And this is the Lucky Shoe Podcast. Today we have Matthew and May.
Hello, bitches.
Hello.
Jesus,
What's up, y'all?
you've been watching Breaking Bad again, May? Fuck.
Yeah, no, it's just a habit,
Where's my money, bitch?
bitch. Hi ho, fucking Hitler, bitch. Oh
I
my
actually
God,
did
that
just
was
finish.
so bad.
I just did finish rewatching Breaking Bad recently. My girlfriend's been watching it for the
Oh,
first
nice.
time. We just finished it up.
For the
Nice.
first time.
Yep.
I've
Yeah,
never.
I noticed a lot of people were getting back into that show. Or just seeing it for the first time.
I got a confession to make. I've
What?
never watched it before.
Oh man, it's a good show. Like
Fuck out of here.
in terms of like consistency in writing, it's really there's very few plot holes. Like I'm sure there are some, but it's a very concisely written show. Very well done. So I would recommend it to anyone
I saw
that hasn't seen it.
I saw a post from my friend saying that when she started watching it recently, it gave her anxiety about her anxiety about her anxieties. It
Damn,
was just making her anxious.
that's deep.
Very deep. It's a
Right
deep
now,
show.
lately I've been watching Altered Carbon.
I've
Oh,
heard
nice.
that's good. I've watched the first couple episodes, and what threw me off, I actually just talked about this in the last episode that I uploaded, but
Yeah.
I don't like the trend in sci-fi or cyberpunk where the bad guys have fucking lasers on their head or like lights on their helmets. It drives me crazy because they always get their heads blown off, and I'm like, how can you be surprised? You have a big red light straight on your forehead. Huh? And Altered Carbon has that like big time in it all over the place, and I'm just like, I can't take these bad guys seriously. It's like the Splinter Cell games. I always saw the cover of the Splinter Cell games. I'm like, that just looks ridiculous.
You know, it's one thing that nobody talks about is that the main character is basically he's an Asian guy, but he's in a white man's body.
He's doing whiteface. I find that also problematic. Actually, you know.
Wait a minute though.
It's like,
Do we
oh,
know
you
that?
talked about this?
Do we know that if he's really Asian or not? I mean,
No, yeah,
what if he was originally? Oh, what?
you see it in the flashback.
Well,
Oh, yeah,
that
but,
could have been his
I mean-
second body or third body.
Yeah.
His name is Takeshi, isn't it?
Maybe he was originally a white dude appropriating Japanese culture and then took over a Japanese body.
There
You
you
know?
go. And then it became a white man again.
Exactly, because he didn't choose the white man that he is now. So.
The white man chose him.
Something like that. Yeah.
Takeshi, I choose you! That seems bad. I'm gonna get arrested. Woo woo, PC police.
I've only seen the first 2 episodes, or is it 3? So I know that he's like sort of married his daughter, the billionaire or whatever,
Oh, wild.
really, or trillionaire or something. Or what I know for sure is the daughter has, like 12th daughter or something, has taken over her mother's body.
Is that the show, the universe where people like travel through the galaxy by just like switching bodies to a different body that's on a different planet? Instead of
Sort
like
of.
flying there, they just like take a different body that's already on that planet. Or doesn't that happen?
I don't know. I don't know if they've taken over the galaxy yet.
Oh, really? Okay.
I haven't gone into it enough to see it.
I know there's books involved, or maybe maybe it's a solar system only or something, but I'm pretty sure that's the one where they're like, the way that they do very quick travel is actually by like just transferring their consciousness over to other planets.
Yeah. I like that. If that's true, I like that concept. I think that
It
makes
makes
sense.
it's more feasible than uh, achieving FTL. I feel like,
Yeah.
and everyone's pretty much immortal by that point in that universe as well.
Yeah. I
Maybe
think
if your consciousness lives on inside of your robo brain.
I've seen this concept before. I forget the physicist who talked about this, but he imagined like you have little nano robots, you send them out, and they find a planet. They use the materials of the planet to make more of these nano robots, and they expand out further and further and further. And they build structures for you. And then once they're done, then you basically send over the consciousness of the aliens to that planet into whatever paradise that you've had your robots create for you.
Oh, that would be cool. I
It,
think I've
Let's
seen
do
that's
that
pretty
now.
much that's what the replicators were in Stargate, right? Did you watch Stargate?
not far into it.
Mm. That's a good show. It's long though. What's up, me?
I've never seen it.
It's
What?
a good show. It's classic. You should at least watch like a few episodes to like get the general idea. You know that
Okay.
show Ancient Aliens on the History Channel?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It existed before that, but the premise is what if that was true? But yeah, it's pretty enjoyable. That has a lot of nostalgia for me, so I can't really be objective about whether it's actually good because I watched it. My family watched it when I was young, but it's a fun show.
Yeah.
I enjoy it.
Turns out if you can achieve 10% of the speed of light using that replicator method, you could traverse the galaxy, I believe, within 1,000,000 years. Which that
Like the
sounds, I
Milky
know that
Way.
sounds, yeah, the Milky Way galaxy. You could achieve it. You could go
Well, it's
traverse it within
exponential
a million.
growth, right?
Yeah, yeah,
An exponential. People underestimate exponential growth is such a wild concept that it's hard to really grasp. I don't know. It just going to infinity that quick. Hard to
yeah.
understand.
I learned this early on during the pandemic, back during March. So imagine you got a lily pad, or you can imagine you got a pond, and the rule is the number of lily pads doubles every day. All right. And I think it went something like you start with one lily pad, um, and let's say at the end, eventually after a month or so, you reach like 1,000, or after some time, you reach 1,000. At what point do you get half of them? You get half of them at the last day, which is crazy. It took you
Mm-hmm.
like it took you like most out of all days, like 29 days or whatever, you only get 500, but you get the last 500 after just one day.
Yeah, that's actually
Oh
a
shit.
really cool conceptualization of it. That's a good way of explaining it. I like that a lot.
Yeah. And it's just crazy to think about. So just changing one or two people at the beginning of the pandemic could literally mean uh, could mean the difference between hundreds of thousands of cases eventually later on, maybe millions of cases eventually.
Yeah. Well, right now I feel like people aren't giving a shit. Honestly, recently.
People are getting quite fed up.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I was at grocery store today and it was just packed. Like everyone was wearing masks. Apparently the kids weren't, but
Yeah.
ah man. Yeah, apparently the kids weren't. But it was packed. Like it was the density of the state fair?
Uh,
Yeah.
it was
It
like
was
that.
it was like the density of the state fair. And obviously it's not as big of an area, but people were packed in there. Like shoulder to shoulder in some places. It was
Wow.
it was not fun. I
Ooh.
I got my eggs and my toilet
Because
paper, and I was like, I'm out of here.
fuck this. Fuck you. Fuck this. I'm out.
If they engage in mandatory lockdown, I'm gonna go up to my grandpa's place. I'm gonna get a rifle, shoot a deer, and eat that for the rest of the winter. Like, screw going to grocery stores. Go into survival
Man.
mode.
Dude, did you see Phoenix Airport?
No.
It was pretty much like that too. People just packed. Everyone was wearing masks, but I mean, it was just fucking packed as hell in there. I
Wild.
remember with the headline below saying the CDC is recommending that you do not travel by plane for the holidays.
I mean,
YOLO.
we were about to start doing this podcast in person because by like just a month or a month and a half ago, the numbers were looking fine. Like, like it wasn't great, but it was pretty all right. And just in the past month, like, dude, the scientists were fucking right about the cold weather. Just they said as soon as cold weather hits, we're gonna see a spike, and that's exactly what happened. Insane.
People like to be indoors. People don't like being cold in the winter.
Immune systems are compromised too, even slightly.
Yeah.
You get cold, stress levels go up. I don't know.
Yeah. Especially in college.
Long, miserable winter.
Especially on college campuses. Like, I remember when I was a freshman or something, I had a professor who was explaining this to the class. Every year, you get a bunch of freshmen that come in. They just go to parties all the time, woohoo, and they don't know how to eat well, so they eat garbage food, which compromises their immune system. And then, bam, right towards the end of the semester, they just get the flu and they get super sick.
They don't eat right, and they drink. And they drink.
And they take drugs to study.
Dude, the number of times I've literally heard people in college joke. Obviously, they're not serious, but they do it though. They joke that, oh man, alcohol like kills germs, right? So if I just drink a lot of alcohol, I'll kill all the virus in me. And then they like down like 3 shots. Like, can't get sick now.
And it's not chemotherapy, people. Have you seen the remixes of WAP from Ben Shapiro? They just like
no.
You should look it up. They just put his lyrics. They just put his voice over the actual song. It's amazing.
That sounds great. Have you seen the video? There's a video on YouTube of 2 people impersonating Ben Shapiro and Jordan Peterson, and they have like a 15-minute discussion on WAP. And they're like pretty decent impersonations. It's like, well, we can't judge the hierarchy of the wet ass pussy. Like sometimes a male is just more attracted to a wet pussy versus a dry pussy, and we can't deny the natural hierarchy of these things. That's like throwing the baby out with the bathwater. You see, like I was fucking dying. It was such a good video.
I need to see that.
And then Ben Shapiro's impersonator was like, well, it's like my wife doesn't get very wet, so it kind of like devalues her P word, as they say, and so it devalues her because, like, for me, when I'm, getting in there, it feels kind of like a toaster oven.
Maybe this is an indication.
So good. Memes are good.
Speaking of making fun of Ben Shapiro, have you seen his interview with the BBC's Andrew Neil before?
No, what happened with that?
He had a total meltdown on the interview. I don't think he was prepared or something, and he eventually resorted to him just calling Andrew Neil a total liberal, left-wing liberal or whatever.
Libtard. I don't know what you're talking about.
Something like that. He didn't say those exact words. It's been a while since I've seen the video, but Neil was like, "Are you kidding me? If you know me, I am not at all a fucking liberal." Neil is.
Oh, yeah, I think I did hear about that one actually. Yeah.
Yeah.
And that was a year ago, right?
Yeah, that was last year.
Even people on the right were like, "Come on, Ben, like, don't be ridiculous."
Yeah. Andrew Neil, he's definitely not a libtard.
Yeah, that's surprising. No. I feel like I don't know. That's off. That must have been an off day for Ben Shapiro because he's like, yeah, he normally is pretty snappy. I won't say he's normally pretty accurate because I don't necessarily believe that he's necessarily accurate, but he's pretty snappy.
Yeah.
He's pretty quick on his feet.
Yeah. The mistake I think he made in this from this video from this interview was that he was he was participating in a debate when there really wasn't. It really was not about a debate. This was a one-on-one conversation.
Yeah, he can't turn his debating off.
Yeah, I think that was the mistake that he made.
Either you agree with him completely, or he's in debate mode trying to prove you wrong.
Yeah, that's where he goes. He's honestly, I think he would be a perfect. What do you call those people?
Lawyer?
And like, no, well, yeah, that. No, I was thinking more like, what do you call those people in sports? Just making a bunch of announcements or being a jockey or something. Yeah, he would be a perfect sportscaster.
Mm-hmm. No, totally, you know what, Bill? I don't think that was actually a foul pass. So if you look over here, it's like,
yes,
you can clearly see on the slow replay.
Yeah, I don't know, if he ever fucking implodes or whatever, I think he could easily switch to that kind of career.
Yep.
Yeah.
I'm not sure he would need to switch a career. He's been a lawyer for quite a while, and his wife is a practicing doctor, so I bet they're pretty set. They could probably, like, I bet they could deadass retire, honestly. Like, those are two pretty well-paid jobs.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Remember, kids, to be a good lawyer, you don't. It's not really. It's more about. It's not really about how right you are. It's more importantly how much you can convince other people that you're right.
Mm-hmm. And how you can spin a story. That's the thing about Ben Shapiro is that's why I didn't want to say he was necessarily accurate. He's snappy and he's quick, and he'll probably, like, if I don't want to debate him, he'd pin me down in a debate easy.
Yeah, me too.
But he'll make shit up on the fly, and it will be stuff that really helps his argument.
Mm-hmm.
So
I remember
he knows what to make up, and it's very snappy, very quick, but it's not always accurate.
Do you guys remember Farron Meyer?
Farron Meyer.
Yeah. Yep. You showed me her.
Yeah. Yep. Oh my god. She back when she was still on YouTube, she wanted to debate Ben Shapiro and transgenderism. Oh my god! And like those two actually exchanged some heated tweets. But when she announced it on Facebook, I actually personally messaged her and said, "Don't do this, please. Oh my god, do not do this. You're going to embarrass us all."
She would have just gotten shredded. Wow.
Yeah.
Because I saw she was actually on a news minute with Jordan Peterson way back in the day.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was so weird seeing her there. Because she, like, was basically a wallflower. Like, she would agree with people every once in a while. She would chime in and be like, I agree with that. I'm not making fun of Thermite there. There's a funny YouTube video by Freedom Toons making fun of Dave Rubin. Would recommend. she was just like, I agree with that.
Look up Freedom Toons. You'll find it.
Yeah, he's a pretty good comedian. I only like him when he's making fun of the right, though, because he obviously is right leaning, and so when he makes fun of the left, it doesn't seem like it's in good humor. It seems like he's trying to be mean. You know, when he's making fun of the left.
Not in good faith.
Yeah.
Not in good faith.
Yeah, when he makes fun of the right, it's like he's kind of like just poking fun at his own team, and it's like, you know, just having fun. But when he pokes at the left, it's like
serious.
Yeah, there's like a level of him just kind of being mean, and not necessarily like, I don't know. Yeah, too serious for me to find it funny.
I think I've heard of those. I think there's a prerogative for those kind of people. Oh, I remember. They're called enlightened centrist. There are people that bash both sides, but you can tell based on how they're bashing that they lean more towards the right. If that makes sense.
Yeah. That's what I like. I haven't seen much South Park, but I do like about South Park that they'll just viciously attack anyone.
Yeah, yes. I've seen them. They took my job, and yeah, thanks. That I like that. Thanks for fucking giving me a S. Please get rid of your SUV thing or whatever.
Yeah. Yeah, they have some good shit.
They gave us PC Principal,
Oh, yep. PC
the
Principal.
best character.
That's a good source of the meme.
And then the reality douche or whatever the fuck his name is comes in. You've seen him before. He has glasses. He looks mean.
Reality
Yeah.
doesn't care about your idealism.
Well, it'll just take a big dump on that or whatever, and take your ideals written on paper and just wipe its ass with it.
Man, I kind of want to try making some like, the like way back in YouTube when there were video essays. I want to try making a video essay.
Then Vernaculus made video essays.
Dude, he took his entire channel down. None of his videos
Yeah.
are accessible anymore. That hurt my soul. I mean,
He
you do
came back.
you, Justin. Is he back now?
Yeah, he's back.
What?
But none of his old video none of the old videos are back.
You know, I really wish he would just bring the one back that was the one senator he was in a news meeting, and they were talking about Obama swearing in on the Bible. And first the senator was like, "Well, I don't think it's very fair that he's swearing in on the Bible, since he's a Muslim." And the news reporter was like, "Obama is a Christian." He's like, no, he's just swearing in on the Bible because that's what you need to do, but I don't think he can really swear on it if he's not a Christian." And the news reporter, he said, so you can swear on anything that you want. Like, he could swear in on a Quran if he was Muslim. And the senator just, stared completely blankly at the news reporter for, I don't know how long. Felt like a minute. Probably wasn't that long. And the news reporter was like, You didn't know that? I'm so sad that Vernaculus took that down, because it was such a gem of a video. I could find it somewhere else, but it's a lot harder.
He took his channel down because he didn't want to be known as a YouTuber. He just wanted to be known as an author.
Dude, he was one of my favorites. He was a good one.
Yeah, it was also a mental strain on him.
That's fair. Yeah. Yeah, you do you, Justin. You do good stuff. I'm going to buy your books. They're next on my list of stuff to buy when I have the money. So you're high on my priority, buddy. I've followed you. Oh boy. I've probably followed Justin 7 or 8 years now. So, long-time fan. You do you. You make good content, and he's one of the YouTubers that always posted sources in his videos description. And that you rarely see that anymore. And I always respected that a lot, cuz even if his take wasn't necessarily accurate, or he was being a little harsh on the people he was talking about, you could always go and look at the links, and they were real links. Some people put fake links in their channels. And yeah, kudos to you. I wish you all of the luck. Anyway, that was a little tangent.
I was gonna say something. Oh, I remember. My brother, he is in an economics course for college, and something he said his professor mentioned was right about midterms where he is at that time. is the knowledge that he gained from his microeconomics course is about how much economic knowledge your average House representative has in Congress.
Wow. Oh, I kind of want the Congress and really just all politicians to take the U.S. citizens exam and see how they do.
Yeah.
That'd be
I also
interesting.
want them. I'd also want them to take a micro or macroeconomics exam, or better yet, I think it would be a good idea if all of our congressmen, no matter what their background is, that they take a course. They're required to take a course or training on the basics of micro and macroeconomics.
That makes sense. Yeah.
Like, yeah.
Dude, I am super biased for this because I think education is just like so very important for pretty much any job. Like politicians should know a little bit of everything and a lot of some things. Like they should know a decent amount about economics and statistics for sure outside of their political knowledge. But I also think they should have some exposure to the natural sciences. And I'm not just talking like, oh, you need to take 1 or 2 classes with a lab. Like you need to, I think they should need to like take intro to all of the core sciences, physics, chemistry, biology, and just have an introduction to it, or not need to,
Yeah.
because anyone can run, right? That's the thing. But I feel like it should become standard that they have these qualifications. Like,
Yeah, I think that makes sense. The biggest takeaway from those classes should not be just the pure contents, but just the way of thinking from a science, the way of thinking in a science.
Yeah, and yeah, obviously, don't make it a requirement because that is elitism for one, and for two, it's slamming the door for people with lower opportunity. That's not great because also people that don't come from the most opportune backgrounds should also be able to have a voice in politics. But I think it should become, like common, at least, or something you look for.
In a politician, yeah. I feel like there's too much in our discourse of just merely looking for somebody where you could just have a beer with. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
At least personally.
It can take you down a road of getting some real manipulative characters in there.
In my opinion, I think, at least for me, I'm looking for a politician that's not as smart as me, somebody who is more smart than me. So I think those are the people that would really help, that can have the capability to help this country, at least the most. What would you guys think of term limits for people in the House and the Senate?
What do you mean?
So that way,
can you elaborate?
Yeah, something like the president gets is limited to 2 elected terms. So maybe senators can get no more than like 6 perhaps. So you can't. So that way we don't get like 40-year career politicians. So there's less corruption. I don't know. Do you think that would help our political discourse a bit? So we don't get out of touch as much out of touch politicians
So
that have been in there for like 40 years. Yeah.
I needed to look it up because I didn't remember the name offhand. But so like kind of setting up more of a cursus honorum, which is the Roman. That's kind of like the Roman example of what you're talking about, where there's this path that and this was actually more intense than what you're talking about, because there's this path for Roman citizens to move up the political chain, right?
Yeah.
So there were different steps along this thing called the cursus honorum. So first, maybe you'd become a senator. Wasn't the first step, but bear with me. I don't remember perfectly. So, for example, first you'd start as like a lower official, and then maybe work your way up to a senator. And you needed to every year. You could only serve the same. Not every year. There's a term. Every term, you could only serve each position for 1 term of that position. And then you needed to move up the ladder, or you needed to move laterally to a different province. You could serve in the same position in a different province of the empire.
Mm-hmm.
So you either needed to move up laterally or down after one term. And so it was to be in your year. To be in your year is to move up every single year, and only a few people managed to stay in their year on the cursus honorum. And then, of course, before the empire really formed, because the cursus emperor honorum predated the empire by a couple generations. So if they hit their consulship, that's kind of like the highest office that you could rise to, is a consulship. And then eventually you, and that was true afterward, unless you had ambitions of becoming the next Principe, which is the Imperator. So you should look up into the cursus honorum, CURSUS space HONORUM. It's similar to what you're talking. So yeah,
you can't sit around and fart around in this exact same position for like 50 years or whatever.
It would inspire competition. That's for sure. It would also maybe if we let politicians move states and try and run again, like, so in the Roman Empire, like I said, they could move laterally into another province. So the equivalent, somewhat, it's really hard to just Roman political system, throw it on the U.S. That's hard to do. But somewhat equivalent would be then a senator moving from one state to the next state, or to a different state, and trying to run there and win. So then you would actually have senators trying to move laterally if they didn't feel like they could move up to the presidency or whatever. If you say that the presidency is greater than senatorship, which I suppose in a way it is. I mean, not every senator wants to be the president anyway, but
at least in today's discourse, or at least today's norm, if after you've been president, that's usually considered the the end of your career after your presidency.
Well, and that's
pretty much.
Our system is inspired heavily by the Roman system, and the consulship is basically the executive office of the Roman period. I triggered some. I probably triggered John just now, but yeah, screw it. It's the equivalent to the executive branch of our system. We're gonna say that for argument. And that was pretty much the highest office. A lot of people, after they hit their consulship, they got that and they were like, "Cool, I retire." Especially since by that point you probably racked up a lot of dough.
Yeah.
You could retire, but but I think it would be interesting actually to have senators need to move away from their home state. Because there's also that home state loyalty that people get. Like, oh, I know that guy. I see him at Costco or whatever the fuck. So actually forcing our senators out of their state after their term expired, and like, yeah, you need to go and run in a different state. Not only would that make it more competitive, more difficult, it would also force the senators to understand life in other states. Because let's say the California senator, they're like, oh yeah, guns, get rid of them. And then they need to go like run in Texas. And the Texans are like, yeah, we are never going to give up our guns, man. We love our guns. We use them a lot. They're a point of pride for a state. The senator needs to learn that then and learn how to adapt to that state. That could honestly, I could see arguments for doing that. I could. That'd be cool.
The reason I said 12 years is you don't want too much experience for senators, because then they get old and they don't really understand modern times as well, I feel like. But you don't want too little experience. You want somebody there who can help mentor some younger freshmen congressmen and women.
Yeah. I don't know. I wonder if any of those ideas were mentioned in the wow, I'm blanking. It's not the Constitution, the Republic.
The Federalist Papers?
Yes, the Federalist Papers. I wonder if any of that's mentioned in the Federalist Papers.
I don't know.
Anything like that. Because it's not actually a new idea. It's like I said, it's been around since Rome, and I know that the founding fathers knew a lot about the Roman political system and studied it heavily, and it heavily inspired a lot of our current political system. So I kind of wonder if they thought about doing that, and if they had a reason for not, or just going the other way. That would be interesting.
Out of your discussions, I think down the Federalist Papers and the Constitution, I believe, if you want to be a senator of a state, you have to be a citizen of that state. And I think the reason that the founders did that was because if you're a citizen of that state, you have a vested interest to see that your state is successful. If that makes sense.
It does make sense. Yeah, that's like supporting your own state.
Yeah. If you're part of California, if you're a citizen of California, but you're running as senator for Minnesota, for example, that it's like half a continent away. You might be more inclined to say, I don't care about Minnesota. I'm a citizen of California. I don't care what the tax rate in Minnesota is.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. But we are actually at time for today. We went ham today. I feel like we were on fire.
Yeah, for those last 20 minutes, I feel like I was listening to a lecture, just sitting here taking notes.
All right. Well, thank you everybody for watching. I hope you had fun listening to this. I had fun doing this. So.
Yep, I had fun.
Have a great day.
Night or whatever it is, yeah.
Bye. Fuck off.
See y'all.